never gets old. If you're a proud Ghanaian as I am, I'm sure this has put a smile on your face and made you recollect your good old days back in JHS or SHS. Well, did you know that this uniform is no longer going to be worn by Ghanaian JHS students?
Exactly. Don't mind me, Gertrude. If you are observant enough, you should know that this fine piece of clothing is the new uniform for JHS students in Ghana.
Well, this isn't the only reformation that has been made. Several changes have been made to subjects, tests, and so much more.
To put it intellectually, there has been a major, if not complete, paradigm shift in the entire syllabus, curriculum, school periods, and the pedagogy of the Ghanaian educational system.
Very well put. And in this episode of Learning with Pete, we bring you all you need to know about the new reforms of the Ghanaian educational system. Stay tuned.
However, before we proceed, it's worth noting that these changes just affect the basic cycle and then the secondary cycles. And that's your typical kindergarten, JHS, SHS level. And the reason why the tertiary wasn't involved is because tertiary institutions are much more considered as separate entities, and then they are headed by your chancellor or your vice chancellor. So they are more free from government control or policies. Another thing worth noting is that this is not the first time there has been a reformation in the Ghanaian educational system. I would love to tell you more about that, but history is not my thing. Gertrude.
Yeah, so ever since we inherited our educational system from our colonial masters, the British, there have been several reforms initiated over the years aimed at finding lasting solutions to the problems concerning education in Ghana. For example, in 1978, the number of years a student had to spend in secondary school was 4 years. However, this was later changed in 1987 by the PNDC to 3 years. And that is how it has remained 3 years till now, right?
Right.
Wrong. Get your facts right. There was another reformation in 2000 by the New Patriotic Party, NPP.
I'm sorry, guys.
Apology accepted. After 9 years in 2009, the National Democratic Congress, NDC. Kwabena, you just apologized.
Come on, I have to be fair.
After 9 years in 2009, the National Democratic Congress, NDC, changed this period to 3 years, and that is where it has remained till date. This is why it resulted in 2 batches graduating together in 2012. Imagine graduating with your seniors.
But what really necessitated this educational reform? By whom, where, and when was it announced?
The government of Ghana initiated some key educational reforms to transform teaching and learning and improve educational outcomes in the country under the Education Strategic Plan, ESP 2018 to 2030, approved by Cabinet in 2018. The ESP is a plan adopted by the government aimed at transforming Ghana into a learning nation. It was actually through the ESP plan that the new educational reformation was born. To find out more about ESP, there's a link posted in the description below.
From the same article, it was expounded that the reforms are expected to accentuate the goals of the ESP and contribute to SDG Goal 4, that is, quality and equitable education for all, and lead to the improvement of learning outcomes, especially at the pre-tertiary level.
According to Dr. Kwabena and Gertrude, the Minister of Education, the focus of this curriculum is to transform our education system to make it perform the work of socio-economic transformation. According to him, and I quote, "The nexus between education and socio-economic transformation is our focus, so that we see education as a means to an end and not an end itself." Among others, the new educational reform seeks to transform and tackle issues on cultural literacy, digital literacy, financial literacy, patriotism, self-awareness, national identity, and others.
According to Mr. Michael Stoa, the chairman of the GES Council, the new curriculum will focus on 1. Developing leadership skills, 2. Developing capacity to collaborate with others, and 3. Developing digital literacy.
In another article posted by the Ministry of Education, the main priorities of this new educational reform are 1. Improved learning outcomes, 2. Enhanced accountability and equity, at all levels of the educational sector.
Another reason that necessitated the new educational reforms was the need for a performance standards of some sort that will guide learning, teaching, assessment and grading of the pupils. And that was not present in the old educational system.
For example, there was the National Education Assessment, NEA, that measures pupils' competency and proficiency in P4 and P6. But this was done based on a sample, and hence the results were incomprehensive to a large extent.
In addition, this initiative has been a response to several calls from stakeholders, critics, and concerned citizens alike about the major flaws in the previous educational system. One of these flaws was that the previous educational system produced students who were only good at passing exams instead of problem-solving citizens who were well equipped for the challenges facing the country, Africa, and the larger world.
According to international best practices, the curriculum has to be changed every 5 years to meet the socio-economic demands of the nation. However, the last time Ghana changed hers was in 2007, more than 12 years ago.
Wow.
Yes. Consequently, this has resulted in so many problems and inefficiencies in the nation, and it's not so hard to see and attest to.
As a result, the new educational reform was born in response to the challenges and flaws of the old educational system that have been running for too long.
It's too long.
Now let's get into the actual highlights of the Reformation.
It's about time, isn't it?
The very first one is the introduction of new school uniforms for junior high school students. Take note that junior high school students are no longer going to be wearing the dark brown gown and the lighter brown top,
Popularly known as Kunti and Apengwine,
any longer as your primary school counterparts. According to Michael Nsoa, the chairman of the GES Council, this move is psychological and is intended to, and I quote, infuse more confidence, responsibility and identity into them, since they will realize that they are now young adults and are no longer the equals of their juniors in primary school. Also, kindergarten, primary, JHS and SHS 1 will now be collectively called basic school. So JHS 1, JHS 2, 3 and SHS 1 will now be respectively called basic school 7, 8, 9 and 10. That means that SHS 1 will now be called basic school 10.
Wow, really?
Really?
SHS 1 and Basic 1 in the same basket.
Yeah.
What a start for this new reformation. Well, ladies and gentlemen, kindergarten has not been left out of this reformation. Their number of subjects have been reduced from 7 to 4. Now, I didn't actually know they were doing 7 subjects.
Neither did I.
Well, primary, lower primary, and upper primary also have their number of subjects intact, but the greater depth will be focused on their literacy and their numeracy.
And also, history will now be taught from primary 1 to inculcate nationalism and promote patriotism. New examination called National Standard Assessment Test shall be conducted at primary 2, 4, 6 and JHS 2. French will be taught from primary 4, and if there are more teachers, French will be taught from primary 3. BEC shall be replaced by placement exams at JHS 3 to enroll students into SHS 1.
A common core program called CCB shall be run from JHS 1 up to SHS 1, and it comprises of 9 subjects. That's mathematics, languages, science, RME, physical and health education, career technology, social studies, computing, and creative arts and design.
Wow, those are some really new introductions to the Ghanaian education system.
And to think this will be run right from primary up to SHS 1, quite impressive.
Very impressive. The education system will now be research, community engagement, and project-based with fewer content. We believe what this means is that the classroom will now be more of student-based activities where the teacher simply monitors instead of doing more of the teaching. This mode of teaching will really suit this generation. What do you think, Kwabena?
Oh, I'd have loved that. You know, you and I study better things.
We do.
Science at the basic level now comprises of applied and physical sciences, and that involves more of demonstrative features.
Students in SHS 1 shall continue to run the Common Core program for 1 year. This means that they shall not select science, arts or business. They shall, however, write an exam at the end of SHS 1, and this exam is called the Common Core Examinations, and they shall enroll them into SHS 2.
At SHS 2, students will have the decision to either choose a career-related program or a high school diploma program. Now, the career-related program comprises of the vocational and the technical programs, and then the high school diploma programs are the ones like the arts, the business, and the sciences. This means electives start at SHS2.
Yeah, and then WASU will be replaced by university entrance exams. Students, after successfully completing SHS3, shall be awarded a diploma certificate instead of the regular WASU certificate.
Quite impressive if you ask me. That means by the time people come out of SHS, they would have already had the necessary skills and vocational training to thrive in the corporate world. That's very much unlike first.
Even more so is the fact that these students will have access to a diploma certificate right after school. This should prove helpful because not everyone will be able to or wants to follow the university path, you know?
I know. The government, as part of its educational reform, is going to introduce aeronautics and aerospace engineering in secondary school education. And that is going to develop the creative abilities of the students and also improve the science to humanities ratio. Now, as you know, Gertrude, everything with advantages certainly has disadvantages. So sorry to you if you were expecting this reformation to be a wholesomely good package of goodness. Let's hear the critiques.
Yes, Kwabena. One of the major critiques is that this is only good on paper, but it is certainly bound to fail for several reasons. Among such reasons are issues in implementation, delays in delivery, lack of adequate training of teachers, limited educational infrastructure and resources for implementing this reformation. And so some people feel these changes are too quick and sudden, and some even feel changes are totally unnecessary.
Actually, this reformation has been in the running for more than 2 years now. And to be sincere with you guys, things haven't been exactly rosy. Much aspects of this reformation is still yet to be implemented.
And we would have loved to tell you more about that, but then we'll only be extending past the scope of this video. So until we see you again, this is Learning with Pete, and this has been
All You Need to Know.